So the iPhone 13 Pro is a phone that I've been using the last couple of years, to be honest, as of this point. So let's go and see how it holds up against the iPhone 12 Pro Max in 2023. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which came out in 2020, has a massive 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And it's a very, very good panel. And I think it's a good display for the most part. Fairly high resolution. And, the Super Retina XDR OLED display is very nice, gets fairly bright, and I do think it's a very decent panel. It's just a massive phone. With the iPhone 13 Pro, you are getting a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this thing is, noticeably smaller than the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is expected, but you still get a decent resolution on this thing, 1170p. It's a 120 Hz panel on this one, which is a big advantage. You are getting a 120 Hz panel on the 13 Pro, where the 12 Pro Max is that standard 60 Hz. So keep that in mind. You have lightning ports at the bottom of both these phones, flat sides on both as well, and on the back, you are getting frosted glass backs. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the camera module on the iPhone 13 Pro is actually noticeably bigger than the 12 Pro Max's, which is kind of funny because the 12 Pro Max's camera module is pretty big, but the 13 Pro's is much bigger in my opinion. The sensors are just so much bigger. You're getting MagSafe capability on the back of both of them. You get wireless charging on both, and I think it's, a good phone on both. You're getting IP certification and everything like that, but I would probably say that the 13 Pro is probably the phone that feels more premium, but the 12 Pro Max is really cool because it's a massive phone that you can get for much cheaper now, and it was the most expensive iPhone of 2020. So I definitely do think that deserves some credit there. And probably when it comes down to these two, the 13 Pro is probably the one I like the most. In terms of cameras, they are kind of the same camera modules, like in theory. They're all 12 megapixel sensors, wide, ultra-wide telephoto lenses. You can do 4K at 60 on the back and the front of both of these. But I've always felt like between the iPhone 11 Pro Max and 12 Pro Max, those two camera sensors were way more similar than the 13 Pro and the 12 Pro Max. So in this case, I would probably give the S to the 13 Pro. You're also getting things like cinematic mode, which is really cool, and some other features built in here and there. So I do kind of feel like that between these two devices, a device like the iPhone 13 Pro's camera is probably going to be giving you a better experience. I have filmed so many videos on my iPhone 13 Pro, and I've had an amazing time with it. So if you're in the same market, if you're in the same demographic, you're probably going to have an amazing time with the iPhone 13 Pro as well. On top of that, with the software longevity, we really don't know once again how long these phones are going to last. If I had to kind of guess, I would probably say that the iPhone 13 Pro is probably going to last essentially as long as the iPhone 14, maybe. Could be totally wrong, but that is an assumption, and I think that's going to be another cool thing that's going on here. I think with the iPhone 13 Pro, this is going to be a device that's going to be getting software support for a long period of time. With the iPhone 12 Pro Max, again, it's also still going to be supported for quite a bit of time as well, but I definitely do think the 13 Pro is probably going to be the better one in my opinion. Performance-wise, the 12 Pro Max has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM. The 13 Pro has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM inside of that device. And I definitely do think, once again, when it comes down to these two devices, you are getting very good performing phones between both. But the 13 Pro is probably the one that is going to be giving you the overall better experience as far as I can tell. And the reason for that is because the 13 Pro, for the most part, is giving you, a newer chipset. But it's also giving you that 120 Hz display, which I think is really, really nice. Having that type of display on this type of device is really nice, and I love that. So it's another big asset. Battery life wise, this is something that was interesting. You were getting a bigger size battery on the 12 Pro Max, but I've always kind of felt like the 13 Pro's battery life was better for me than any of the 12 Pro series or 12 series in general. Again, through time, these batteries have degraded and things have changed, but I definitely do think that the 13 Pro's battery life for its size is pretty good, but I would say on average, maybe the 12 Pro Max will give you better battery life. So to kind of sum it up, I definitely do think that with the iPhone, 12 Pro Max, this is a very, very good device. And I think it's a great phone, but I do think the 13 Pro is by far, the best one you could buy for the price. And it makes so much more sense to buy a phone like that over buying a phone like the 12 Pro Max, in my opinion. So in terms of that, it kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.